Hi everyone, my name is Shauna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you a bit of a book haul. This has been over probably the past month and a half, 2 months that I've gotten these from a bookstore here that I have, Indigo, as well as an online order from Book Outlet, and then a couple pickups from just thrift stores in my neighborhood. So I'll make sure to give kind of context as well as some pricing, if that's helpful for folks, especially for the Book Outlet. You may be able to still find these if you're interested in them. So yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to start with fiction and then I'll end with the few nonfiction pickups that I got. So I got this one from Book Outlet. This is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. This is actually a fairly new romantasy book. I think this only came out in the end of 2023, early this year. But yeah, like I said, it's romantasy. So you have the Prince of Envy, who was never claimed to be a saint. He gets a note that kind of starts this deadly game. There's messages, there's hexes, there's cryptic kind of clues that are given. And he basically teams up with another character named Camilla, who has a bit of her own agenda and ulterior motive for the reason that she's helping this prince. And so we'll see their relationship through this adventures. They go into vampiric courts, there's demons, that kind of romantasy. That's kind of the bread and butter of the genre now. But yeah, this is actually a really new pickup. I didn't read Carrie Maniscalco's other series, which I think is Catching Jack the Ripper series or something. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to give her a read. And I picked this up for $7.99 actually, which was really good. It was the fiction sale that happens sometimes on Book Outlet where you get a bit of a deal on them. The next one I have is Ghosts by Dolly Alderton. Again, this is my first time reading a fairly well-known author. I mean, Dolly Alderton, I think, has a new book that actually just came out. This is kind of her, I don't know if this is her debut or if this is kind of her second one. I'm not actually sure kind of in her backlist where this falls, but kind of a contemporary fiction. So you're following Nina. She's got it all figured out. She's got her friend group. She's got her apartment. She's an author. She's on her second book. Life is going pretty good. And she basically wants to have a relationship with someone. So she goes on a date and meets a character named Max, who is perfection himself. He and her get along so well. They are meshing so well, the conversation, the humor, the love, the chemistry. And then he ghosts her. And she has no idea why. She just doesn't understand it. And it kind of throws her into a whirlwind because this was going to be her thing that she was going to hyperfixate on to ignore some of the personal issues that she's been having with her mom, with her dad, with her job, with her publisher. And so we kind of go along with her as she kind of lives life when it gets a little bit rough. I actually really love the cover of this. It's very simple, very minimalist, but I think the colors work really well. And this one I got from Indigo, and this was, I believe, $6. It was actually on sale at the time, so I was really, really happy to pick this up for such a great price. The next books I have is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This author I actually have read from, The Night Circus. I didn't necessarily understand the hype for The Night Circus at the time that I read it. I think I just read it because everyone else was reading it. But the reason that I specifically picked this up and when I found it, I was so happy, is because on Reddit, I went on to a book recommendation page and I basically said, I read Piranesi by Susanna Clark. I absolutely loved it. And I want to find books of the same vibe. I want to go in and I want to be a little bit confused. I want to not understand. I really, really liked it. And people kept recommending The Starless Sea. So I want to give Erin Morgenstern a bit of a second chance. Like I said, The Night Circus was fine, but it was nothing necessarily to write home about. But this one sounds really interesting because we're essentially following our main character named Zachary, who finds a book that essentially starts to describe his life and mimics his life and copies his life. And he doesn't understand how he even found this book, what this book is about, or how it's being written, when it's essentially a copy and paste of his day to day. So he kind of starts and he goes on an adventure with two people named Mirabelle and Dorian. And they go through twisting tunnels filled with books and ballrooms and wine dark shores, which sounds very pretty. So I think this is definitely going to be very atmospheric. I think the imagery in this is going to be really, really pretty. And yeah, so I'm excited to go along with this. I'm trying not to go in with knowing too much, just because with Piranesi, it's the same thing. If you don't know much going in, I don't know. I find it was really, really enjoyable. So yeah, I'm really excited. I found this actually at a thrift store, and they sell their hardcovers there for $3.99. And I was like, I don't understand who gave this book up. Like it came with the bookmark that like they sell this book with, or like they like promoted this book with. Anyways, perfect condition. Really happy to have found it at again such a really good price. The next book I got was part of my book outlet order. Like I mentioned in my March TBR video, I am currently reading The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and I'm absolutely loving it. I am almost 500 pages in now. It's about an 800-page book. And I'm having such a good time with it. I actually don't really want it to end. Like I'm chipping away at it. I'm just reading a little bit and I'm loving it. So I definitely wanted to pick up her prequel to that series, which is A Day of Fallen Night. I don't know too much about this, I will say. I apologize to folks who maybe do want to hear the description. I do recommend that you look this one up because I personally don't want to know. I know that it doesn't spoil. You can read them in any order, but I'm personally like, I want to know. I don't want to know anything about like the timeline, the characters of who we're going to follow. I want to go into this one once I've finished The Priory of the Orange Tree. But yeah, I picked this one up. Same price, $7.99. It was during their fiction sale, so all of their fiction was $7.99. And again, great quality. It's in perfect condition. It's also hardcover, which matches the hardcover that I have. So yeah, I was really thankful to pick that one up. Next, I have Be Sure, which is books 1, 2, and 3 of the Wayward Children series by Shauna Maguire. I didn't realize that they even did a bind up of these books. Like, if you look at the books, which the first one is called, the first one is called Every Heart a Doorway. The second book is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. And the third one is Beneath the Sugar Sky. If you see those books in like your library or in stores, they're like this big. They're so tiny. So I'm kind of confused why they look like all three together. I guess it makes sense. But anyway, I didn't realize that they had done a bind up of that series. And I've always wanted to pick it up. But the hold at my library is so long because so many people want to read that series. And I've tried to take it out. I don't feel like reading it at the time. I have to give it back. Then I have to get back in the line. But I also just can't justify spending the like full price on such a teeny tiny book. I know some people are okay with that. I get it. But anyways, I found this and it was and $7.99 book outlet. But it was the bind up of all three. So I found that price was actually pretty good to justify it. So, but yeah, I'll give you a little description. So children have always disappeared under the right conditions, slipping through the shadows under a bed or at the back of a wardrobe, tumbling down rabbit holes and into old wells and emerging somewhere else. But magical lands have little need for used up miracle children. 3 worlds, 3 adventures, 3 sets of lives destined to intersect. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, it's a series that I've always wanted to get into, and I didn't realize they did a bind up. I'll bring it a little closer to the camera because the cover is actually really cool. All of these like different doorways. Really, really pretty cover. So I'm excited to read it. Next one, my book outlet order is pretty big. I will say, like I try to buy in batches. I don't like if I'm doing an order from there, I want to kind of get my money's worth and get the free shipping. So this is also from book outlet, $7.99. It was the fiction sale. It is the Sinister Booksellers of Bath by Garth Nix. So this is the sequel to The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, which is a book that came out a few years ago. I never realized that there was going to be a sequel. I thought it was a standalone. So when I saw this, I was so pleasantly surprised. The premise is very like urban fantasy style. So there are booksellers who are demon hunters. If you've read like the City of Bones series by Cassandra Clare, they kind of keep chaos and demons and untoward beings away from civilization, and they're called booksellers. And they are left-handed booksellers who are the like demon hunters. They go out into the world, they fight, they battle, and there are right-handed booksellers who do like the logistics. So they maybe maintain like the archives. They're digging deep. They're trying to figure out what the stirrings are in communities and what people have seen, as well as like maintaining kind of like, like grimoires and stuff like that. So right-handed booksellers, left-handed booksellers, they come together, they're a team. And so we're just following another set of characters in this story as they deal with, agents of chaos trying to end the world. The covers are really weird. I have the first one. It's back behind me. They're always just so interesting looking, but like don't know if you can see the face that's kind of here. Anyways, they're very, very interesting covers. But yeah, I'm really excited to pick this one up because I never knew there was going to be a sequel. And the last one of my fiction stack is The Mothkeeper by Kay O'Neill. This is the only graphic novel I got, but I was really excited when I saw this on Book Outlet. And this one was about $8.59, as this one wasn't part of that deal that I got. So we have our character Anya, who is a moth keeper. It's a very revered position in this kind of community because moths actually help maintain the village and their like safety and their livelihoods. So being a moth keeper is a really important job. But Anya sees something that she maybe shouldn't see, and it kind of puts into question her being in this position, basically. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I will just show maybe one little art style. Like the colors are just absolutely stunning. Everything is just really, really cute. So yeah, I'm excited to pick this up. It's always nice to have a bit of a palate cleanser between really heavy reads. So I'm glad to get that one. Now for the nonfiction. First one I have is Conversations on Love by Natasha Lunn. Lovers, strangers, parents, friends, endings, beginnings. Yeah, this is a nonfiction all about kind of different people's perspectives around love in their relationships. Between their kids, between their siblings, between their parents, you get the idea. So yeah, it's just a slice of life from a lot of people, a lot of different authors, and a lot of different voices. I'm really excited about this. I've heard literally nothing but good things about this book. I also got this from Book Outlet and think this one was about $11.99 if memory serves me correctly. But yeah, excited. And I think, yeah, this one is the last one that I got from Book Outlet, which is Our Migrant Souls, A Meditation on Race and the Meanings and Myths of Latino by Hector Tobar. This book, I will just read a little bit of a blurb from here. So he's taking on the impacts of colonialism, public policy, immigration, media, and pop culture. Our Migrant Souls decodes the meaning of Latino as a racial and ethnic identity in the modern United States and gives voice to the anger and the hopes of young Latino people who have seen Latinide transformed into hateful tropes and who have faced insult and division, a story as old as the country itself. Personally, this was to fill a bit of a knowledge gap that I have. I don't necessarily know that I've read a lot of books by Latino authors and in general around the subject of the Latino struggle, especially in the United States. I've read a lot of content around Black folks, Indigenous folks, but not around Latinos. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of fill that gap. And I hope my mic is really good, but like the cover is like textured a little bit. Like it's got a bit of grittiness to it. It's stunning. Like the color they chose and just the simplicity of it. Yeah, it's a really beautiful book and I'm really looking forward to reading this. On the last two books of the pile, we have Indian in the Cabinet by Jody Wilson Rayblode, which is Speaking Truth to Power. So Jody, I was actually JWR is her abbreviation, was the first Indigenous Minister of Justice and Attorney General in the Cabinet for JT, for Justin Trudeau. So this book is her memoir. It talks about her kind of political struggles that she was facing. And yeah, basically it's a book about kind of leadership and speaking truth, being an Indigenous woman in federal politics in a country that for a very, 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 very long time and still today do not really acknowledge the harm and the hurt and the cultural genocide that they did to Indigenous folks here in Canada. But yeah, this is going to be a really good read. I'm really excited for this because I also have her other book, which is, so I'm looking up because it's True Reconciliation, How to Be a Force for Change. I have her other book, so I'm excited to read both really, really soon. And the last book that I have is definitely and I should say, I got this one, from a thrift store in my local neighborhood. This was $3.99. And the last book I got was at the same time, so that same thrift store, but paperbacks because they're a little bit cheaper. So this was $2.99. Is *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* by Yuval Noah Harari. I'm saying their name right, sorry. But yeah, this is a history. I actually have read Homo Deus, which is like the future one. It's like the black covered one. I have read that book. I really liked it, so I've always wanted to pick up this book. There are so many copies of this book floating around. It's getting turned into like it's a graphic novel now. I'm pretty sure there's like a YA version of this book. Like I knew I would eventually be able to find a copy for a price I was willing to pay. But yeah, I finally found it. So it's $2.99. But yeah, it has to do everything with agriculture, mythology, money, contradictions, science, religion, culture, like everything from the start of it to now. So yeah, I'm really excited about this book. I've always heard really good things. His writing is actually really, really captivating. But it's just been so long now that I've read it that I'm like, it's like a little mini history textbook. And I don't know that I'm ready for this, but like I am looking forward to reading it because I've wanted to read it for years and I've been putting it off. So I finally have it. It is a very chunky little book, but I'm glad that I have it on my shelf now. And that is the last book in my stack. So I will leave it there and see you soon. Bye.